Today we're going to learn about two new topics, inverse and absolute value. If we look at a number line, we need to have a reference point for when we talk about numbers. That reference point is 0. So I'm putting an imaginary line through the point 0 so that we can use that as a reference. The inverse is essentially the opposite. We hear about inverse things all the time. The inverse of addition is subtraction. The inverse of subtraction is addition. The inverse of multiplication is division. The inverse of division is multiplication. The inverse of a numerator is a denominator, and the inverse of a denominator is a numerator. Look at -2. -2, if you can imagine that that's actually a fold line on a piece of paper running through 0, and you can fold that over, what point would -2 match up with? It would match up with 2. 2 and -2 are both 2 units from 0. These are opposites or inverses. Another example would be 5. Again, if we pretend that there's a fold line at 0, we know that that number would match up with -5. It's important to remember that inverse numbers, they make 0 pairs. Essentially, they cancel each other out because they are the very same distance from 0. Absolute value. Absolute value is a measure of the distance from a number's location to 0. A distance is always a positive number. If you imagine that you live at 0 and you went out of your house and you traveled and ended up at -4. Just because you're at -4 doesn't change the fact that you've traveled 4 units from 0, not -4 units, 4 units. 4 is the distance from -4 to home or 0. Notation. The symbol for absolute value involves a pair of bars, one before and one after. You can see an example, a bar, then a -4, and then another bar. And this is read as the absolute value of -4. So from our number line, we can write an expression, an equation, that shows that the absolute value of -4 equals 4. Another example. We start at home and we end up at 5. Again, we moved in the positive direction, but we still moved a distance of 5 units from 0. The distance is 5 units from home or 0. So we can say that the absolute value of 5 is 5. Let's review. We started out with inverse. Inverse means the opposite, refers to a number on the opposite side of 0 that is the same distance from 0. And when inverse numbers are combined, they make a 0 pair, meaning they cancel each other out, resulting in an overall value of 0. Absolute value is the measure of a distance from a number to 0. Distance traveled is always positive, therefore taking the absolute value of a number always results in a positive answer. And the notation of a number inside a set of bars can be confusing if you don't remember to look for it.